Welcome to the LawyerFair.co.uk daily podcast. LawyerFair helps businesses find the right lawyer at the fairest price. But on this podcast, we just chew the fat with some great guests.
So we're actually in conversation. I'm already talking here with Guy Blaskey. Welcome, Guy.
Well, thank you for having me.
Not at all. It's a pleasure and a treat. Well, treats are actually a key word, which we're going to come back to in a moment.
Treat certainly is a key word.
Treats are a key word, but let me tell you, there are two things, Guy, that get me immediately excited about a brand. Okay,
Yeah.
One is an entrepreneur who had that kind of light bulb moment or personal experience and thought, actually, I'm going to do something about this. And the second is a great brand name. And I've got to say, you tick both boxes because Guy, for those who are not aware already, is the founder of Pooch Mutt, which is just awesome. Straight away.
Well, I mean, it does what it says on the tin. It's causing us a few problems when we want to launch our cat range because we can't do that under Pooch and Mutt. But other than that, at least everybody knows we're a dog brand.
Well, there could be a nice little tension, couldn't there, between the Pooch and Mutt brand and the cat brand? The real life tension that goes on in families between the two pets. But listen, Guy, thank you so much for joining us, and let's get back down to the nuts and bolts of this, because you are flying, things are going great. But where did it start? What was the beginning of all this?
We started. It's very interesting. I had a career in marketing. Really, I read an article about the guy that set up Red Bull, and he was saying, he started in marketing and he had an idea, and he thought his marketing was so great that he just needed a product. So he went around the world to try and find a product, and actually found this kind of syrup in Thailand, added some soda water to it, and the rest is history. I kind of identified with that, possibly a little bit too arrogantly, of I'm brilliant at marketing, all I need is a product, and there we go. It turns out reality is a lot harder than that. So I kind of thought at the time, I need a product. And then at the same time, my family dog Cookie was diagnosed with a problem called hip dysplasia. And my mum founded a horse supplement company about the same time Google was founded in 1998, although it had not grown quite so big. But we treated Cookie with the horse joint supplement, and it worked really well. She was told that she'd need a hip replacement within 3 months, and 7 years on, no hip replacement. So that worked, but it just wasn't 100% right for dogs. So I kind of worked with them. I was like, right, let's launch this for dogs and test these marketing powers out. And that's kind of where we started. We started to treat Cookie, and we've grown from there.
Well, Cookie, thankfully, is alive and kicking, and obviously eating well.
Yeah.
But what is the basis of the Pooch and Mutt? What are you providing the world?
So the basis, what we do with the range is we're a nutrition company. We're a health nutrition company. I always say to people, we're a health food company that just happens to make products for dogs. We started, which is kind of odd in the industry, is we started as a supplement company. So we started with using nutrition to achieve certain aims, as in help dogs have better mobility, have better coat, have better teeth, have better digestion, be calmer. So that's kind of where we started. We started with supplements, and then we thought, right, we need to build this into treats, to have a bit more fun with the brand. So we built it into a range of treats. They were very quickly snapped up by a lot of stores, but mainly the people like Waitrose and Pets at Home put them in every store. And then because of the popularity of those, people just kept saying to us, when are you going to bring this concept to food? And dog food is a very, very, very competitive market. But it's grown in certain ways, and the big growth at the moment is kind of natural, healthy pet foods. So I didn't really want to take those guys on, but then everyone that's out there is just doing the same natural, healthy pet food. They're all kind of making a lamb one and a chicken one and a fish one. And I'm kind of a wannabe athlete, I'd say. So I do marathons and triathlons and things, and I've come to understand kind of the power of nutrition to help health. There's a great quote by Hippocrates, which is 2,000 years old, which is let thy food be thy medicine, and thy medicine be thy food. And I kind of stand by that quite a lot, and I think more and more people should stand by that. So we believe our core kind of principle is using the power of nutrition to lead a healthy life. It's the food is the fuel for your body, the fuel for your dog's body, for their own body, and you need to put the right stuff in to get the right stuff out. So that's the core principle behind our food, our treats, and our supplements, is that we are giving the building blocks for a healthy life.
No, absolutely. I mean, and Cookie is a great example of that. I hope he's eating well and looking fantastic.
Well, absolutely. And then, my own dog, my own office dog, Pepper, is a 10-kilogram cockapoo who, is a small dog, but she does 10K runs with me. She's done 10K. She's got a medal on her bed from a 10K run that she did with me on Clapham Common. And about 2 weeks ago, we did a thing called a run or die, which is where you do a run through forest, you get kind of coloured cornflower thrown at you. And there's a big problem in the country and in the world with obesity, and there's an equally big problem with canine obesity. And one of the really simple cures, obviously, is eating well. But go and run with your dog.
Yeah,
There's enough dogs that need running, and dogs love exercise, and
No, for sure. Well, listen, guys, let me just also ask you a couple of questions about the journey, for want of a better term. I mean, here at Pooch Mutt, over £1 million sales, multi-award winning. I'm looking through them all now. And you came from a design marketing background. I was interested in the comment you made right at the beginning. Really, you thought, well, this is going to fly off. I've got all the ingredients I need to make this a successful business. Now, clearly, that wasn't quite as straightforward as you thought or hoped.
No, it's very much not straightforward.
I mean, any other obvious challenges that you hadn't anticipated?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was actually on my honeymoon, and I got a phone call from the office, and it was one of our first deliveries of food into Waitrose, and it had gone in, and I can't remember which way around it is, but it's something like it went in a lorry that only opens at the side and not at the back, or only opens at the back and didn't open at the side.
Yeah.
So they couldn't accept it. So then it had to be kind of sent backwards and sent forwards and sent backwards. And when you come from a marketing background, you never think you're going to have an issue of what side of a lorry your goods are unloaded on.
Yeah.
It's not something that occurs to you.
Yeah.
So, the things, I mean, that's obviously a very detailed thing, but yeah, every day there are certain things that we just think, God, I'd never, ever thought that would happen.
And also, as the entrepreneur, as the founder, you're so hands-on, aren't you, that you just have to get your hands dirty in every area of the business, including operational, clearly.
Yes, I mean, when we started up, it was just me. I was doing everything I owned, and I would say I'm one of those guys that probably am not brilliant at anything, despite a few design awards, but not really brilliant at anything, but pretty good at a lot of stuff. And I think any kind of entrepreneur has to do this. And I go from being an accountant to a packaging designer to helping with operations on a day-to-day basis, and I think you need to have that flexibility, but obviously work with people who are experts, and that's kind of what we tend to do, both by employing people and outsourcing, is try and work with some really great people.
And how big is the team now? What's the size of Pooch Mutt?
So the team in our London office is we have 6 full-time and 2 part-time. That obviously doesn't account for any kind of production and storage and everything else. I've got a kind of philosophy which is a bit led by Tim Ferriss, which is to outsource to the best people you can. And I think anyone that manufactures and sells is a little bit crazy, because I think if you're manufacturing, you need to be at capacity. And the best way to do that is to make for lots of other brands. And if you're kind of a brand like us, you need to focus on your brand and growing sales. And I don't see how the same people are going to be as good at that as they are at manufacturing.
I'm with you. Well, I'm looking across at my 4-hour week book as we speak.
The Bible.
The Bible. I haven't quite got into his 4-hour diet book. I suspect you've probably read that as well, have you?
Yeah, I've got that. I didn't get through the 4-hour chef very well, but I mean, I've got to be honest with you. I've actually spoken to Tim Ferriss, but I think Tim Ferriss has a lot of people telling him how he's changed their lives. But definitely the 4-hour work week was very instrumental on how I set up Pooch Mutt, and then the subsequent book, The 4-Hour Body, led me to doing the London Marathon twice, 6 Olympic triathlons and a half Ironman.
Wow. Well, it's fascinating, actually. I didn't know that before you mentioned it, but I mean, I also subscribe to that book. And if anybody is launching a business, that and the Lean Startup book, frankly, as far as I'm concerned, it's all about streamlining and bringing in expertise when you need it. And Guy, you've obviously built a very successful and growing business on the basis of those fundamental pillars. Your ambition, as I read in a Telegraph article, is you're currently selling just over £1 million a year. Is that right?
Yeah, around. Hopefully, we'll go over that this year.
Cool.
One bit of advice I would give, and a bit of a plug, I guess, is we worked with the government Growth Accelerator program.
Yep.
I wasn't convinced about it kind of originally when I looked at it. I had some ideas of where I wanted to go anyway, and I wasn't sure I needed the help. But I think you get something like £6,000 worth of coaching for about £300. So that seemed like great value to me. So I thought I'd give it a go, and it was probably one of the best things that we've done. And the simple fact is, and everybody thinks they do this, but probably don't do it. The simple fact is, you need to know where you're going to be, where you want to be, before you can make a plan to get there.
Yep.
I think a lot of people make business plans and look up how to make a business plan. But what was great in the process with Growth Accelerators, instead of making a plan going forward, we looked at, this was a couple of years ago, we looked at where we want to be in 5 years, and what that would look like, and then enable it. And, if that is what we were going to be in 5 years, where would we have to be in 4 years? In year 4, where would we have to be in year 3? Where would we have to be in year 2? And then the next year. And then you have a plan going forward, and they have a very good template, which I've actually used in one of my talks. But they break everything down really simply, and again, back to Tim Ferriss, it's all about kind of small, achievable goals. When we looked at it, we've had 100% year-on-year growth now for 3 years. But when you look at it, it's saying going, from 200 grand a year to 10 million a year sounds crazy, but actually breaking it down to going to 1.5, going from 1.5 to 3, from 3 to 6, from 6 to 10 is a lot easier.
Yeah, you can see it. Well, the aggregation of marginal gains springs to mind, Guy, on all of that kind of stuff, doesn't it? So taking it step by step. Listen, you've been an absolute star. Thank you so much. The Pooch Mutt branding is brilliant. And were you genuine about developing the cat brand as well? Is that in the pipeline?
It's in the pipeline. It's one of those things. I'm a little bit like Homer Simpson saying donuts in a way. When you see opportunities, I get very excited by them, and a lot of people that we work with ask us about cat treats, and cat treats and cat food, and it's something that we know a certain amount about, and something that we can make, and it's something that we're looking at. But our focus is definitely dogs. One of the issues, and this is an issue that possibly many businesses face, is how do you grow? And one way of growing is to sell more to the same people that you sell to. So, for example, having the same customers buying treats, buying food, buying supplements, and one is to sell to new customers. And one of the great things about Pooch Mutt is, we're the biggest independent dog food brand on Facebook. We've got 50,000 Facebook fans. We're the biggest independent dog food brand on Instagram with over 10,000 fans. So those are our customers, those are our fans, and that's who we speak to. And we know they've got dogs and want dog products. When we launched the cat brand, which is the ideas are there and almost the formulations are there, and the brand is, we have a brand ready, but we need a new audience for them.
And that takes up resource, doesn't it? That's a big
Exactly.
resource getting them on board. Yeah.
Exactly. And there's everyone needs to focus, and I think it's one of the entrepreneurial kind of problems that most entrepreneurs have, is that everyone loves an opportunity, but actually you've got to focus on what you're doing.
Listen, I've got my arm up in the air acknowledging that trait, because it is a weakness of my own. But listen, Guy, you're in some kind of windy destination. Are you on some kind of moorland there?
No, I'm just outside my office.
Well, listen, it's kind of you to join us, and thanks so much. Pooch Mutt, Guy Blaskey, have a great day.
Thank you very much, you too.
And thank you for joining us. That was the LawyerFair Daily Podcast. There'll be more again tomorrow. Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening to the LawyerFair.co.uk daily podcast. If you'd like to listen to more, why not subscribe and download each episode via iTunes, or Visit us on the lawyerfair.co.uk website.